Hey, you are listening to the Victims and Villains podcast, a podcast extension of the nonprofit that dares to educate and engage individuals on mental health awareness through pop culture. My name is Captain Nostalgia, and I had the privilege of going to do press for this year's Creature feature along with our videographer and Marvel co-respondent, Mr. Alan Cram. He is also the host of our Patreon exclusive series, Hope After Dark, as well as his own podcast, You Have to Watch This Podcast. And while we were there, we actually got a chance to sit down with two of the original Hocus Pocus stars, Jason Marsden and Omri-Katz. And we decided to actually hold these interviews off in anticipation for Hocus Pocus 2. If you guys are like me, you grew up on this movie, and now without further ado, we present to you guys our Creature feature interviews with Jason Marsden, the voice of Binks, and Omri-Katz. Have a good day.
What's going on, guys? Well, if you grew up like me in the 90s, you guys probably know the sound of this next gentleman that I am here with, Mr. Jason Marsden. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start with your career.
At the beginning.
At the beginning.
I mean, in the middle. What's your favorite point where you...
honestly, your favorite movie of mine is Goofy movie.
Yeah, man. Good choice. Good choice.
Goofy movie, if I'm being honest, man, like it... I lost my grandmother when I was 10, and my sister and I watched that movie on nauseum.
Yeah.
During the grieving process, so it was... it still makes me cry.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That is probably one of the most common things I get from fans of a Goofy movie is like watching this helped me get through something, or I have a tumultuous relationship with my parent, but we get along watching this movie, and the fact that people are still watching it shows that it's still being handed down from generation to generation. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. And my condolences.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
I just rewatched it a couple months ago, so
Right on.
and I also rewatched Hocus Pocus a couple months ago too.
Excellent.
My wife and I were just like, we're in the mood. We just got to see something goofy, something nostalgic, something spooky, but not too scary.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it encapsulates all those words.
So you play Blinks the cat.
That's
Binks.
That's Binks. Yes, not Blinks. You blink. Yes, you don't blink. You Binks. Yes, Thackeray Binks. 300. Oh yes, I guess 300-year-old cat. I don't know how Jim Henson did this. 300-year-old cat from colonial Salem. That was me. Yes.
So it's interesting because when you talk about a movie like Hocus Pocus,
yes.
Hocus Pocus obviously it has a lot of legacy around it with kids that grew up on it,
yes.
Kids that grew up on the witches. It kind of like kicked off kind of the witch renaissance of the 90s, if you say so.
I don't say that W word around here.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm still traumatized by all this.
What's it like being a part of a project like that and like a Goofy movie that has outlived so much, and it's kind of grown up with the generation?
It blows my mind. I'm an actor for 36 years, and each job you work on, you don't know how people are going to receive it. You don't know what it's going to lead to. And I never in my wildest dreams thought that people would be watching Hocus Pocus habitually, traditionally, like, you and I would watch A Christmas Story or White Christmas or Christmas Vacation. And I think Omri and Vanessa, I don't want to speak for them who are here as well, but people are going to be watching this for years to come. We're always going to be in people's living rooms.
Yeah, and it's so cool because, like I said, it kicked off really this Renaissance fascination with the craft, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's a few years later, and so it's cool.
Right on, man. I'm glad you dig it.
So let's talk about another thing that I truly like from your career is Chester.
Chester McBadbat, yes, friend of Timmy Turner's. Gosh, if anyone needed fairy godparents, it's Chester. Timmy had both his parents. I didn't even know where my mom was.
I'm just out of curiosity.
Is that weird seeing that voice come out of a grown man who's holding a puppet?
Just a little bit.
It's the children's birthday version over here at Creature Features. Yes. I have kids that I'll do this for the kids, and they're looking at me and looking at the stranger danger.
I've seen worse. So
yes. I'll bet.
But yeah, was it kind of like stepping into one of Butch Hartman just is a really unique creator, has a style all of his own. Yes. So what's it like working with someone that shaped, again, like an entire generation?
Yeah, for real. I loved it. I love meeting Butch. He's unique. I loved his pacing and his style. I'm definitely, I can admit, I'm one of those arrogant actors where I don't like line readings. But Butch would give us, like, he'd let us try let us try it on our own. And if he wasn't satisfied, he'd be like, do it like this. And his take was almost always better than what I gave out. So I was happy to do what he suggested. The show is an extension of his personality, his sense of humor. So, you do what the boss says.
Yeah, you've gotten your chance to work on some like truly iconic properties, whether it's Fairly Odd Parents, Hocus Pocus, Lion King, Transformers. Do you have a favorite?
Oh man, it's like picking your favorite child. I mean, I love Transformers because I grew up watching Transformers as a kid. Coming home from school, watching that '80s, mid '80s cartoon. So getting to work on a show like that blew my mind. And Peter Cullen, who is the voice of Optimus Prime, worked on that show with us. So I got to work with him. Was pretty awesome. I don't take for granted the opportunities that I've been presented. I look back at my work and I'm very, very happy.
I feel like I'd be really intimidating to work with the voice of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, well, he's tiny like us, and Mr. Cullen, his voice is very kind of soft, and when he went in the booth to do the Optimus Prime, the Autobots roll out, like it's a horrible impression. But when he did it, I was jettisoned back to my 12-year-old self. Got very emotional. Like I know why people come to these events and meet their favorite characters, because I know how it feels firsthand. So yeah, not intimidating as much as it was nostalgic and awesome.
Well, you're a busy man, so I want to plug any other future appearances that you have as well.
Well, thank you so much. I think we're going to be at Horror Hound in Cincinnati coming up. Motor City Con. I'm doing Rhode Island Con, and I have a show. Can I plug my show on YouTube? Yeah, absolutely. It's not a horror show. It's more like music and comedy, but it's a show called the Mars Variety Show. Just type in Mars Variety Show on YouTube. Please like, subscribe. You know how to do it. And we celebrate independent musicians and stand-up comics in Nashville and beyond.
So we will also plug that, so make sure that you guys stay around. Click the links in the show notes. Jason, thank you so much. Party Crasher here.
Oh, hi.
Howdy.
Hey.
Omri-Katz here. Max Dennison,
Katz.
Hocus-Pocus.
Yes, Dick. They said they didn't want to talk to you, but...
I did not say that.
Just introducing myself. Take good care of yourselves.
Well, thank you guys so much. Make sure that you guys, again, click the links in the show notes and check out everything that Jason's doing. And catch him at a show near you guys this fall.
If you or someone you know is listening to this podcast right now and you're struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, we encourage you guys to please reach out. This is the heartbeat of why we do what we do. Suicide is currently the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, and as of this recording, there are 132 suicides that take place each and every day on American soil. And when you scale back internationally, there are 800,000 successful suicides. That is one death roughly every 40 seconds. So if you or someone you know is struggling, you guys can go to victimsandvillains.net/hope. That resource is going to be right in the description wherever you guys are currently listening or streaming this. There you'll find resources that include the National Suicide Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255. You can also text HELP to 741-741. We also have a plethora of other resources, including churches, getting connected with counselors, LGBT resources like the Trevor Project, and also veteran hotline as well. Please, if you hear nothing else in the show, understand that you listening to this right now, have value and worth. We get it. Suicide, depression, mental health, these are hard topics, and the stigma around them doesn't make it any easier. But please consider the resources right in the descriptions below wherever you guys are listening, because once again, you have value and you have worth. So please stay with us.
What's going on, guys? We got another Hocus Pocus star here, Mr. Omri-Katz. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and how are you doing today?
I am very well.
Sweet.
So before we start talking about Hocus Pocus, I feel like we should also draw some attention to your shirt here, because Erie, Indiana, if you guys don't know what this is kind of like a precursor to like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? This kind of is, but it fell under the radar, so why should people check it out?
Why should people check it out? I think it stands, the test of time. It's not outdated, other than maybe some of the, cinematography, but the storylines are great. It's adventurous. If your mind wanders and you're curious, I think it's just a fun show to watch.
I believe it's streaming on Amazon. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is.
It definitely was, but I'm not sure if it still is. But if it is, check it out.
Yeah, so it's
Thanks, you owe me a call.
Oh, dang. I guess I can't do the interview anymore. It slipped like through my age gap, and I just came across it randomly one day, and I was like, this is really so awesome.
Pretty awesome, yeah. I trying to show it to my girls' kids, and we watched one episode, but it wasn't like I found like a rip on it, and it just wasn't, and they just weren't interested. But I kind of want to revisit it, just to kind of bring back some old memories.
Yeah, I grew up on like Goosebumps and like Are You Afraid of the Dark, so like finding it like as an adult, it kind of felt like it's that sweet nostalgia to where it's like, oh, this is something that like I haven't known, but something that feels familiar at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of, I feel like the original kind of version of some of those other shows you watched. Yeah, we always used to describe it like Tom Sawyer meets Twin Peaks,
That's an accurate description.
That's a pretty accurate description. It was always like, yeah, that basically describes it in a few short words.
Well, so I have a question that you may have never been asked before.
Okay.
So I rewatched Hocus Pocus, as I was telling Jason a few months ago, and something caught my eye in your character's room.
Uh-oh.
And that is a pinhead skateboard.
Really?
There is a pinhead skateboard in there.
No way.
And it is the Hellraiser 3, I don't know.
From the Hellraiser.
Yeah. It's weird.
And like that's one of my favorite like movie monster scary characters. I'd say Pinhead. So that I wasn't aware of that, but now I might go back to check it out. I wish that was something I jacked from the set and kept. That would have been dope.
It's like it's in like a couple shots, but like I saw it and I was kind of just one of those things. I was like, rewind that, make sure my eyes aren't deceiving me, and I was like, sure enough.
Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and see that because I don't recall any bit of that. Maybe I don't pay enough attention to detail.
I'm a cinephile, so I pay attention to like all the like the little like weird nuances that take place in the background.
You should get into. You could be like the person that keeps track of continuity on set. There's always a person that's like, okay, in the last shot, this and this happened, to make sure that we don't totally mess things up.
That seems like a big boy job. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Well, I'm sure the pay's pretty good, and you'd be union.
That's very true.
You're like, oh.
I think you might have just sold me. Well, obviously, most people are probably clicked on this to talk about Hocus Pocus, and tell me about what it's like living in the legacy of something that has lasted generations.
Honestly, I'm as surprised and shocked as anyone. I think when we were filming the movie, nobody really anticipated like 30 years later, like it'd just be stored on the shelf collecting dust type of situation is what we thought. And here we are now, like doing conventions, and it's more popular than ever. So I think I'm just as surprised as anybody. The expectations of this is just, I don't know, just kind of threw us all off. So I don't even know what to think about it.
So coming into like the convention circuit, you just took a picture before we started this interview with cosplayers that were dressed up as the Sanderson-sisters. What's it like to like see something that was a part of your childhood like brought out and like how it has endured and just touched so many different lives?
I don't even know how to really answer that, because it's a little odd, I guess, because it's something that happened so long ago for me that now coming back and seeing this kind of world, because I just disappeared for so long, and now coming back into this world, like, I kind of feel like a kid at a candy store. It's exciting and fun, you know? I didn't realize, I did realize, but I guess I didn't realize till I was physically present and seeing people actually, like, how not only that it touched so many lives, but how people are so into it, especially getting dressed and doing the different things from the movie, and fans just telling me about things like Pinhead being in the background, you know, like telling me about stuff that I just would have never even noticed.
So it's interesting that, like, Hocus Pocus, you know, coming out early 90s, kind of kicked off this renaissance of, like, witchcraft, where you had, Sabrina the Teenage Witch a few years later, Charmed, Craft. What's it feel like to be, like, you were at the pioneer of this one?
One of the OG witch movies. I didn't think about it much then. I don't really know how I feel. I mean, I guess I feel honored and proud that, you know, as part of something that kind of ignited some other stuff. I mean, look, we got Bewitched before, which was a sitcom stand-up. A sitcom for back then. And what other time? I mean, obviously we had, like, Wizard of Oz, so witches have always drawn, I think, but yeah, so I guess we're somewhere there in the mix.
Did you get along with Binks the cat on set?
The actual cat?
The actual cat.
So we had like 20 cats, and each one of them performed something different. So yeah, we got along great. I mean, we all smelled like cat food and had these clickers on us to help, like, you know, because they all responded to these clicks. But yeah, I think we had I think if you ask the cats, if they're still alive, that we had a good relationship with them.
I always like reading articles that, like, they always say, like, there's two things you never work with are kids and animals. How true is that?
In show business, I guess it depends on the child. Because some of them, you know, I think they just kind of learn from their peers and become these brats to begin with, because they're just like, oh, I could just basically take advantage. And then animals are unpredictable, so you really don't know. So if you put me in a scene right now with a tiger that's supposedly trained, or a bear, yeah, I think I'm going to be pretty darn scared that something bad's going to happen. You never know.
This is true. Well, my last question for you is, where can people find you online, and what is next for you in terms of conventions, projects, etc.?
People can find me. I'm not too much online, but you can find me on Instagram at DanksterOms or Dankster_Oms. And currently, I'm not working in show business. I'm building a cannabis brand. Hold on. Keep it rolling. It's called the Merry Danksters. And that's kind of like, that's my true passion project that I'm working on. And slowly but surely, we're getting there. I don't even want to go into the whole politics of all that. But, yeah, that's what I'm working on now.
All right, so last question, I swear.
I
swear. No, I want to talk about the brand real quick. Let's go ahead and plug it.
Let's talk about
what made you want to pursue cannabis?
Okay.
I know it's a loaded question, but
it is a loaded question. I'll give you the brief history. So, I left acting for certain reasons because I just didn't really like show business. I liked the craft, great. I didn't like the business aspect of it. Left, lived in the mountains for many years. Came back to LA, was searching for what to do. I wanted to get back into acting to make quick money so I can get out. That didn't work out too well. Yeah, didn't work out too well. I was always passionate about cannabis, and I saw a close friend of mine had a grow room in his garage. And I was like googly-eyed and jaw-dropped, and I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do with my life. And so I started growing cannabis. back in 2002, illegally, which is fine to talk about because it was all illegal then. And and in that pursuit, I just continued, and here I am now, following the legal market and doing everything by the book, and we're getting there. And that's where I stand today.
Well, awesome. Make sure that you guys check out his cannabis brand as well. It's Merry Danksters.
The Merry Danksters.
And we'll provide links in the show notes below. But check them out this fall if you guys get a chance to see Omni come into a convention near you. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank you for
Thank you.
interviewing me.